Thanks for joining us for another episode of Backstage with the Queensland Choir, the show that introduces you to our members and also gives you a bit of insight into who we are as an ensemble. And it's my pleasure to be joined by Erik, one of our tenors. So, Erik, tell me a little bit about how you came to love singing.
Wow, that is probably an easy question to answer actually, because I've pretty much sung almost my entire life, I guess. My mum used to love singing. She would sing around the house, she would sing along to things, or she would just break into song anytime. And so I think that's where the root of my love of singing came from, is probably from her. And then throughout the rest of my life, I've been singing in some way, in some shape or form, either with school choirs or with community choirs or whatever. Aside from a break that I had probably after leaving high school, I've been pretty much singing the whole time. And when I got back into singing after not having sung that for that break, it was like coming home or something. So it was, I guess, this reinvigoration, this sort of realization that not having singing in my life was something that I seriously missed. And that, I think, for me, gave me a realization of how much I love singing.
And was it your mother that sort of helped to inspire you to sing? Like, did she drive you in that way, or was there another influence as well?
It's hard to say because it's so long ago. I think she always did encourage that side of the creativity, musicality part of it. I was always in music things. So, I was learning piano, and while I was learning piano, I was in the school band. And, while I was in the school band, I was doing other things with music teachers and stuff. And, we would sing as part of exercises or little fun things to do. And I think as a part of that, it wasn't just from one influence that made me want to sing outside of just the, singing in the shower kind of situation. I think it came from a lot of places. So, yeah, hard to pinpoint one particular thing, but yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess, and when it comes to choirs, if you had to describe what it feels like to sing in a choir, how would you describe that?
Like you're part of a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the most quintessential way to put it. But if you delve into that a little bit more, I think that singing in choir there's this energy that gets created when there's all these people that are putting their creative energy into something together, working for this thing, and what you get is something that's greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that it's probably not the first time you're going to hear that. I think everyone's going to hear that a lot. But the other thing about singing in choirs as well is the energy you get from when you're performing to people. That reflection that you get from the audience is something that I haven't experienced in any other way. And when you've got a big audience, that it's amplified so much, and it makes a huge impact on me, and I guess everyone that does it. So.
No, I know exactly what you mean. When we sang Zadok the Priest in City Hall that one time, whenever I sing that opening chord, there's just such a feeling of jubilation.
I get goosebumps
when
I get that feeling, and I reminisce about that feeling. So yeah.
And I guess turning to our choir in particular, the Queensland Choir, what's it like to sing for the Queensland Choir?
It's just, it's hard to say, but it's hard to put into words, actually. It's wonderful. I think I've sung in a lot of different types of choirs, community choirs, school choirs, church choirs, all these sort of different things. And most of them are quite small. Some of them are really lovely. One of the ones that I did at school, we went into a regional competition and we did really well and we won. And there was an amazing energy about that. And there was a lot of creative people around during that time, and that was really sort of one of my earlier memories that's really strong and really great. But when you get a choir that's at the level that Queensland Choir is, where we're performing with, international quality musicians and performers, in really large venues with really big audiences, and that amazing sound that you get from a symphony orchestra or something. That it's you get the reward that you get from a small choir is great, but it's just amplified to such an extent when you're in a choir to the level that Queensland Choir is. So I think that exemplifies why I'm in the Queensland Choir is for that experience. Not least of which that the quality to what we hold ourselves to that we're always our ambition is always to be at that top level, is another reason why it draws me to be with the Queensland Choir maybe rather than other choirs.
Well, on that topic, we are an auditioned choir, and you've been in for a number of years, so you've obviously passed those auditions a few times. But that can be a source of anxiety for some people. So, what would you say to that? Like, how would you, if someone was interested in joining but they're a little bit nervous about the auditioning, how would you quell that fear? I guess.
Just remember that you while you are being judged. It's not yourself that's being judged. It's just whether or not you have the quality that can fit within the choir at the time. Often the reason why people don't get into large choirs like ours is because there's just a big list. Like I think that there's a situation that can occur where that you just get this huge influx and there just isn't the room, and that's not because necessarily your quality isn't great. It's just because there isn't the room, and so I think. I mean, I don't know. I get anxious still when I go into an audition, even though I know what I'm doing and I'm confident that I can, make it through, and that, I still get anxious. I don't know what it is. It's probably one of the main reasons that I'm not a soloist singer, and I haven't aimed for that, is because I get really anxious singing in front of people by myself. That's actually another reason why singing in choirs. I think back to the previous question you asked. Is that you're not alone. You've got the support of these people around you. You don't get that when you're alone. So, yeah.
And when it comes to our concert next Saturday evening, we're singing Vivaldi's Gloria and Dan Forrest's Requiem for the Living. Out of those two pieces, is there a particular moment within each of them that is a favorite for you? And if so, why would that be the case?
Oh, man. So I've got a very strong, deep emotional connection to Dan Forrest's Requiem for the Living, not least of which because it's such a beautiful piece of music, and it's an amazingly emotive piece of music, but also because it was actually my mum's favourite piece of music that we performed as well.
Oh, wow.
It was, there's actually a story behind that, but it became really, really strong emotional connection for me to that piece of music. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Like even just the opening, the dark, deep sort of opening of that piece, moving into some of these, really gorgeous pieces like the Sanctus that, sounds like it's, coming out of like, the heavens or something. And there's some, these moments where, the music opens into these just glorious harmonies, like in the Lux Eterna or even the Agnus Dei. There's this, a lot of moments actually. They're all very emotional. The Gloria is a new piece for me. I don't think I've sung it before, but I really enjoy some of the uplifting moments in that. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but yeah, there's a lot. It feels like it. It's interesting, like there's this contrast between the Requiem and the Gloria, with the Requiem being this ultra modern piece of music, and the Vivaldi being this sort of more Renaissance period of music, and there's that you can feel that contrast when you're singing it and when you're listening to it as well, in a really nice way. So.
Well, if we've piqued your interest and you would like to join us as a chorister, head to our website, queenslandchoir.com. Or if you'd like to hear us sing next Saturday evening at the Old Museum, Bowen Hills, you can head to the Old Museum website for tickets for our concert, Dan Forrest's Requiem for the Living.